Hi folks, welcome to another edition of Angry TV with me, Angry Britain, off the Twitter. So it's been a few days since my Pixel 6 Pro arrived. So what I thought I'd do is do just like a quick update to tell you how I'm getting on with it. I've found some things I like, some things I'm not so keen on, and yeah, let's see how we're getting on. Okay, now despite what I said, what I've actually done is started using this as my personal phone. So what I've basically done is left the old phone as my work phone. It's just got everything on it that it ever had on it, including all my personal stuff, and I've basically picked this up as a kind of fresh start. So obviously as an iPhone user, I've got really used to having iMessage and FaceTime and all those sort of native apps. So that's kind of like the first thing that I've been a bit like about with using this as my personal phone. Not so much for me, but for the people that I know. Now, just because it's kind of how it's worked out, my entire family have iPhones. Okay, so that means that we've set up iMessage groups for various things, and we've been using them now for like ages, and everyone's got used to talking to each other via those, and all of a sudden now I'm the black sheep of the family because I've decided to do something different, and that's basically ruined all of those. So one of the biggest pain in the backsides of doing this so far has been telling other people that I've no longer got an iPhone. Okay, so that's meant that we've had to create new WhatsApp groups. I've had to install WhatsApp on my parents' phone, and it's just been a bit of a arse ache, to be honest. But we're kind of getting there. The majority of my family now have WhatsApp, and they started contacting me on WhatsApp, and we've got one or two just to sort out on the other side of the family, and then once that's done we should be kind of back to where we were. Obviously with older relatives it's something new for them to get their heads around, and if they're used to talking to you on iPhone and FaceTime, it becomes a bit of a headache for them. But breaking away, now it's done, means that really we should never have to go back unless I pick up an iPhone again. But even then I might stick with WhatsApp, because, you know, being blunt, WhatsApp does everything iMessage does, and it also means that anybody else that I want to talk to, doesn't matter what they've got in their hand, they can do it too. It works cross-platform. That's the great thing about WhatsApp. It works, and it just works cross-platform. And just the fact that everybody you know has an iPhone doesn't mean that you have to have one as well. And that's one of the biggest things that I found this, you know, in the last week or so of having this phone, is that it does everything an iPhone does, but you don't have to be locked into Apple. So that's really good. So I'm not going to lie, it's been a bit of an arse ache trying to get everyone over to WhatsApp, but now we're almost there. There's not really an issue. So that's cool. So that's the first thing. That's one of the biggest things. So the second thing I found about my new Pixel 6 Pro was my AirPods. So I've obviously got AirPods Pro because I've got Apple products all over the place, and they work really well. It was a bit of I'm not sure about whether they're going to work with Android, but actually they work quite well. Pairing them is a bit of a pain in the arse. If you're on Apple product, you just open them and they just pair pretty much. With this, you have to do like a Bluetooth search. You have to press the button on the AirPods, and it didn't come up for ages, and then it didn't work, and it did work. But now they're paired, they actually work fine. So because I've got the AirPods Pro, I've got the noise cancelling. That works fine on this. You can double click them to move tracks, and hold them to get the transparency mode through. So surprisingly, my AirPod Pros, I haven't got to bin or replace. They just work. So that's all right. You don't get the Hey Siri integration or the Hey Google integration, but for the amount of time you actually use it, does it really matter? Not really. So yeah, that was quite a pleasant surprise. I was kind of thinking that I was going to have to upgrade my AirPods, and actually I'm not going to have to. So that's a result. Obviously there's issues with that using the Mac, but I've got a pair of plug-in ones that I just use every so often. So that's, again, it's a bit of a non-issue. A pain in the bum, yeah, but now they're working, it's absolutely fine. So that's the second thing. The third thing is I'm kind of getting used to the scrolling on this. Okay, now if you kind of look, it's a little bit juddery. Okay, now on an iPhone, anyone who's had an iPhone will tell you that the scrolling is buttery smooth. it just flows and it goes, and you flick it and it runs away, and you flick it down and it runs away. But with this, I've noticed that it's a little bit, it's not quite as satisfying. It's a little bit jerky. In Instagram particularly, it's a little bit icky in Instagram. So I'm not a fan of that. So that's a thumbs down for an iPhone user's point of view. The scrolling isn't brilliant. I'm guessing they can probably solve that with software. Certainly for a flagship phone with 120Hz display, that's not good enough. That's a bit shit. But again, that's me coming from an iPhone and being used to buttery smooth scrolling up and down. So yeah, that's kind of some initial thoughts on this. Oh, the other thing, while I think about it, is I've never had so much trouble getting a case for a phone. Seriously, it's ridiculous. Okay, this thing is like having an eel in your hand. It's as slippery as. It's dropped off the sofa a couple of times onto the carpet. I don't know why. It just seems to move on its own. It's got a mind of its own. But getting a case for it has been a nightmare. I've ordered one from eBay, one from Amazon. Neither of them have arrived. They both got stuck on a boat in China somewhere. So almost a week later, I'm like, oh my god, I'm going to drop it, and hanging onto it like that, which isn't great. So this morning I've actually found a case on Amazon that allegedly is in stock and will be here on Amazon Prime tomorrow. So by tomorrow that issue will be resolved. But if you're going to get one of these, I would strongly advise that you go out and get a case well in advance of the phone arriving, or at least get one on order, or go to Amazon and find one that's in stock for next day, because trust me, the minute you take this out of the box, you are going to want one, because it's proper slippery. What else? Oh yeah, the other thing is, listen to this. So hopefully you can hear a rattle. Now supposedly the phone isn't broken. It's something to do with the image stabilization in the camera bar, and according to Google and all the forums, it's perfectly normal. I have to say, wouldn't happen with an iPhone. It just wouldn't. It would not. They wouldn't allow that. But so that's not great, but it's not a big deal unless you're doing that with it. So yeah, that's just another thing. But anyway, honestly, 4 or 5 days of having it, I really like it. And the biggest ball ache has been telling people that I'm no longer on iMessage. So yeah, I don't really know what to say. So far so good, so impressed. It could quite possibly replace my iPhone as my personal phone. Anyway, stay tuned for the next video where I'll do another update to let you know how I'm getting on with it. Yeah, initially really impressed with the Pixel 6 Pro. I haven't really used a lot of the functions on it, like the camera and the video and that kind of thing, but I will get there and it will get done, and I'll do an update then. But yeah, anyway, thanks for watching, and I will see you for the next video soon. Cheers.